Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Timmy Treacle, also known as Horror Fan for Life. And in this next video, I'm giving you another top 10 list. And this one is going to be my top 10 TV show characters from the 2000s decade. That goes from 2000 to 2009. And during this span of a decade, we saw a lot of great shows come and go, start up, end their run. Friends ended in 2004. CSI started up in 2000. Big Bang Theory 2007. Just a lot of great shows during this decade. And there were a lot of great characters during this decade as well. And to narrow it down to the top 10 is tough in itself. But for me, there were shows that I watched that some others may not have watched. And so forth. We're all going to have our different opinions and whatnot. And but I think we may come to an agreement on some of these, but we'll just have to see. But majority of my shows are either on just your regular cable, or they're on your HBO or things like that. So without further ado, let's get right into this top 10 list. Coming in at number 10 is Samantha Jones, Sex and the City, portrayed by Kim Cattrall. I know there's several people out there that don't like Sex and the City. For me personally, my dad introduced me to it many years ago, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was freaking hilarious. And to me, Samantha Jones is the funniest character on the show. And the story of these four 30-something ladies who are in and out of relationships and everything. It makes for a great comedy. I loved the show. Too bad it ended with just 6 seasons and 2 movies, but they are bringing it back. Minus Kim Cattrall. She and her and Sarah Jessica Parker don't get along, and so she's not coming back for the show for its second run. But as far as any character goes, she is freaking hilarious. I love that character, and it comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Jim Halbert from The Office, played by John Krasinski. I was introduced to The Office just this year. Never seen it before in my life. And my brother and my nephew, my brother Billy and my nephew Ozzy, have been wanting me to watch it for the longest time. And I was a little skeptical at first, but as soon as I got into it, I was just hooked. And I binge watched that show. I had it done, I think, in less than, 5 or 6 weekends. And I got to tell you, it is one of the better shows out there. And it is really funny. A great cast all the way through. And just an amazing show. But I love his character. And the way he looks, just does a double take at the camera. And he's just freaking great. And and then A Quiet Place and all the things he's doing with movies is amazing. But he comes in at number 9. Number 8, Barney Stinson, How I Met Your Mother. You have Neil Patrick Harris portraying this character. And this is the show I actually watched. And although some people were disappointed with the ending, which I kind of was too, I still love the show as a whole. It's very funny, and all the characters are great. But Barney to me stood out. He's an amazing actor, and I'm so happy to be able to watch the show during its entire run. And Alyssa Hannigan and the rest of the cast, Kobe Smulders, just fantastic show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But Barney Stinson comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7 is Joey Tribiani from Friends. I mean, what else can you say about Joey? To me, he was the comic relief. He was the ditz of the group, if you will. But he played it to the T. I love his character, and yeah, Matt LeBlanc is he's just freaking hilarious, and I really enjoyed him in his most recent show too. It only lasted 4 seasons, but it's too bad though because it was a good one in my opinion. But yeah, he comes in at number 7. Very funny. I love Friends. It's a great show, and I was sad to see it end in 2004, but you know, it got to end sometime. Coming in at number 6 is Temperance Brennan from Bones. Just a wonderful character. I love the way she portrayed it. She can be sweet, but she was a big nerd at heart, and that's what I loved about the character. And she was on her game. She was just phenomenal. She's always busting everyone's chops about doing a good job, being correct, and being very thorough. But Bones is a TV show. I love the way it ended, and I really wish it was still on TV, if I'm being honest. But still, an excellent show, and I love Temperance Brennan, and she comes in at number 6. Cracking the top 5, we have Tony Soprano from The Sopranos. This is another show my dad introduced me to. Right around the same time we were watching, I was watching Sex and the City. And another great show. I was very disappointed on how it ended, though. It ticked a lot of people off. Of course, everyone knows that already. I'm not going to get into that. But Tony Soprano is badass. And yeah, he comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Doug Heffernan, King of Queens, portrayed by Kevin James. Him and Leah Remini played off well with one another, being a married couple on the show. And then you throw in Mr. Stiller. Just freaking hilarious. I love all the other characters too, his buddies he works with. And yeah, it was a freaking hilarious show that ran from the late 90s to the late 2000s. And today, I think this is Kevin James's best work as far as entertainment, TV or movie wise. And I was kind of hoping they'd bring him back for a little bit. But he did have another show there for a minute on CBS, but it did not last. And they tried bringing back Leah Remini to be on the show too, but it just wasn't the same. And actually, it upset me when they replaced the original woman who played his wife, and it just went downhill from there. But Doug Heffernan will be one of my favorite characters from the 2000s. Like I said, his comedic timing and his physical comedy are unlike any other. And I would have loved to have seen him and Chris Farley in a film together. I think that would have been hilarious. But yeah, that Doug Heffernan is number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Gil Grissom from CSI Vegas. This CSI program ran from 2000 to 2016. Technically, they had a 2-hour series finale, which was much appreciated. But now the show is back on Wednesday nights. Second episode's tonight. And although the initial response from fans isn't that high, it's going to have a 10-episode first season, so we'll see what happens. As far as the first episode goes, I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see where they take it. But as far as Gil's character from the original run, phenomenal. I loved him running CSI, the Graveyard Shift. The team, the original team he had was phenomenal. Even when you added the character of Greg Sanders on his CSI team, I thought it was great. There are a lot of episodes I just absolutely love. There are some that are kind of, I've only seen maybe once or twice. But there are several that I have seen multiple times. And I love the show. I love the other CSI shows as well. But this one lasted the longest, had the most episodes. And Gil Grissom's character is top-notch in my opinion. And I did enjoy all the other characters as well, but he was number 1. Coming in at number 2 is Berta from 2.5 Men, played by the late, great Conchata Ferrell, who I absolutely loved. I was introduced to her while watching this show. And so as I was watching more and more of her movies, I was appreciating her work, her comedic timing, the way she carried herself. And it looks like she just had a ball, working in Hollywood and working on television. And even you could tell in the bloopers, she was just having a blast. And I love 2.5 Men. And it really sucked when Charlie got fired from the show. And I love Ashton Kutcher. I loved him on the ranch. But the first 2 seasons with him on it was fine. They stayed with the 2.5 Men thing. But the last 2 seasons, they just kind of got away from that. The writing wasn't as good. They tried bringing in another kid because the original Jake, he left and whatnot. And although I will say I did enjoy the series finale, the last 2 seasons were kind of painful to get through. But still, overall, I love the show. I still watch reruns every once in a while when I catch them. Berta, to me, she was the one I just loved to watch, and she was always giving it to everyone basically. But I especially loved it when she got on their mother, it's a great show. If you haven't seen 2.5 Men, check it out. Berta the Housekeeper, played by Conchata Ferrell, is freaking hilarious. John Cryer did win 2 awards. I believe it was 2 Emmys for his performance on the show. But I was really surprised. I couldn't believe Charlie didn't win one. I'm just blown away. But still, great show, great character, and she comes in at number 2. My number 1, what can I say? This is a character that, people probably just wouldn't expect. But for me, he's top notch. It is Howard Wolowitz from The Big Bang Theory. Simon Helberg, I remember seeing him as early as in Old School and National Lampoon's Van Wilder. And even though his parts were really small, I was like, man, I'd like to see him in a role of his own. And seeing him on Big Bang Theory, I just loved his character. Now, I will admit, when I first saw the previews for the show, I was not interested at all. In fact, I didn't watch the show for the first few seasons. But then when I moved back home during the recession, I was living with my dad, and we both started watching it. And we just couldn't help but just laugh our asses off. And so I ended up going back and watching the first couple of seasons, and then I was caught up, and then from there I watched it out through the rest of its entire run. And all the characters were great. They were funny in their own way. Even when they brought on more characters, I thought it was great. But Howard, to me, was always the standout. The things he did, it's just freaking hilarious. I don't want to spoil anything because I want you guys to watch the show if you haven't already seen it. But The Big Bang Theory will go down as one of my favorite shows of all time. And Howard Wolowitz was definitely my favorite TV show character of the 2000s. Even though it was only a few years, but those first 3 seasons, he was really just on it. And it just continued throughout its run. Now, that won't mean that he'll be on my list for this next decade. In fact, I won't include anyone that is on this list if their show crosses over into the next decade, because I don't think that's fair. I think once they're on the list, that's good enough. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 TV show characters from the 2000s decade. In the comment section below, if you agree with my list, let me know. If you don't, let me know that as well. I would love to see some of your favorite TV show characters from the 2000s decade. And as always, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you like this video, hit that like button. But thanks again for watching, and check you later.